This episode is sponsored by Vinnie Tortorich and Peter Pardini's Fat, a documentary. Now available for pre-order on iTunes.
I'm pissed off. The reasons that the ketogenic diet hasn't become more popular has nothing to do with efficacy at all.
In the dietary guidelines for Americans, they recommend fewer calories, less fat, less saturated fat, less cholesterol.
The history of science is full of commonsensical facts that turned out to be dead wrong when we did the science.
Less sugar, less salt, more fiber.
You're telling people what to do, how to do it, and everyone's just throwing their hands up going, I'm going to do the best I can.
The myths have become ingrained in our society too strongly for people to realize they're myths.
What are some of the health myths we hear every day?
Grains are good for you and fat is bad for you.
Calorie in, calorie out.
A low-fat diet is a healthy diet.
We saw fat in the coronary arteries, and that must come from ingested fat.
There's incontrovertible evidence that saturated fat is bad.
Like hot oil down a cold stovepipe. It would just clog up your arteries and give you a heart attack.
It doesn't take long for media to pick up on these things, and we don't realize it's happening, but it's happening right in front of us.
I realized that we had gotten it completely upside down and backward on fat.
Imagine someone who spent his whole career getting the wrong answer. Not only are you wrong, you're completely wrong. Imagine the press release you would have to write. Dear American public, we're sorry if we killed prematurely your loved ones and your parents, and maybe we're killing you, but in retrospect, we shouldn't have given the advice we did.
If you think it's up to government, you're wrong. If you think it's up to industry, you're wrong. It's up to you.
Click on the photo image to the left at fascinationstreetpod.com to take you directly to the iTunes pre-order page. I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with actress and writer Shelley Pack. In this episode, we talk about where Shelley grew up and what made her change her mind from her sociology degree to getting into the entertainment business. We also talk about how excited her family was about that decision. And finally, we talk about her new film, Chasing Molly, which is available on VOD everywhere and on Amazon Prime. Check the show notes for a link to that film. It is an hour and 20 minutes of laughter and giggles. I enjoyed it myself, and I think you will too, so I highly recommend it. Without further ado, enjoy, folks. This is actress and writer Shelley Pack.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Shelley Pack. How you doing today, Shelley?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
It is absolutely my pleasure. I'm not even sure how we initially got connected on social media, but it was through social media that this is happening right now. So thank you for being a presence on social media.
I'm quickly learning. I'm in charge of promoting the movie now too, that we're very independent. So I'm learning how to network and just, really wanting to connect with people who would also appreciate, independent filmmaking and comedies and improv, and hearing about, a story like ours where it was just two people making a feature film without studio backing or anything like that. So I'm just looking to connect with people, and I found your podcast and I was like, I'm going to follow him. Let's see where this goes.
And this is where that went.
Yeah.
Now, Shelley, where were you born and raised?
I'm from Los Angeles, from the San Fernando Valley. So I'm local to Los Angeles, and I went to Calabasas High School and UCLA.
For those of you around the country and around the world, Calabasas is where those Kardashians live.
Yeah, it's unfortunate now that that's how we're best known. But yeah, I've never met the Kardashians in person. I'm sure they're lovely.
I'm sure they're lovely. So you went to high school in Calabasas, and where did you go to college, did you say?
UCLA. So I'm a Bruin.
don't know what a Bruin is, but just kidding. I know. The Bruins are the
We're Bears.
the Boston hockey team. I got you. I understand you're a big hockey fan.
Now you know where now you're on our
Now
page.
I got it. So, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I always wanted to be a performer. Comedy's always been my niche, and I have a background in improv comedy. But I discovered it wasn't enough just to be like a funny actress. If I really wanted to be seen in a certain way or know that I'll be funny on camera, I should write for myself. Then that led to production. Now you have something that you've written and you're ready to perform and you want people to see it. So that's how I got into production. So basically the desire was always to be on camera, performing, making people laugh, entertainment. I never wanted to be anything else. I always knew this is what I wanted to be. Except for in kindergarten, there was a short period of time I wanted to be a cowgirl, but it was very short-lived and I've never been on a horse. So that didn't happen. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got into the business is in improv. And then, like I said, production, which I fell in love with creating content, seeing something from an idea and then completing it and getting to see the final product was really, really gratifying.
That makes sense. Now, as far as you wanting to be a cowgirl when you were in kindergarten?
That's what you focused on after all of that gold? You came back to the cowgirl?
Yeah, I'm in Texas, so it's all about cowgirls. So I'm going to assume I'm a good bit older than you. And when I was younger, and maybe this is when you were in kindergarten, there was a song called I Want to Be a Cowboy.
I used to DJ, so I know a lot of very random songs. I was a DJ in college, not for any like cool clubs. It was for more like bar and bat mitzvahs. But nonetheless, like had to be familiar with songs, from 50s to current in order to be able to play music for these parties and get up and dance with everybody and doing like the Time Warp and YMCA. And like, you can't play YMCA and I will like shudder and hide somewhere if I hear that song. No offense to the Village People. It's just because I had to perform it like every Saturday night through college. But yeah, it was a fun way to make money. And I guess it was a form of entertainment. So
yeah, I would imagine. So I'm going to assume that song is why you wanted to be a cowgirl. And then by the time you, I guess, graduated kindergarten, you were like, that song sucks. I want to be in the entertainment business.
Yeah, that was it. It was based solely on the song. And once the song was over, I was like, well, we had a good run.
There you go.
That's it.
So what did you study at UCLA?
Actually, I studied sociology. I really just wanted to get a general education, and then I would perform live. Second City alumni was where I kind of got my training. So like Ryan Stiles and Joel Murray and all those guys out of Chicago and Canada, they kind of trained me and took me under their wing. I was very, very fortunate. So I was performing live all the time while I was going to school and really getting good at the craft of performing. It wasn't just something, I want to be rich and famous, so I'm going to be an actor. I really love performing and making people laugh. So while I was in school, being here in Los Angeles, I could pursue and train and do everything I wanted for my career while I was getting my education. So I was able to do both. And then I'd work bar and bat mitzvahs over the weekends or weddings, which didn't interfere with, anything else. So it worked out. You always find a way to make it work when you're pursuing your dreams.
Well, I think that's really cool. And so that I don't forget at the end of the episode, I would like you to have a Nagila.
I will definitely. We'll have a Nagila for sure.
So what did your parents say when you go to school for sociology and then you get out and you're like,
So you get your degree and then you tell them you're going to be an actress. And it's like telling them you're going off to join the circus. And especially being Jewish, if you're not a doctor or a lawyer or accountant, dentist, it's like yeah, I was like a clown, performing on street corners is what they thought I was doing. So it took a very long time. My mom was always super supportive. My dad wasn't for it. My bubby at first wasn't on board. And then when I started making money, she could, then she carried around like my postcards of where I was performing and all that stuff. So she quickly turned when she started seeing the money come in. But there's a long time that you work without making money. So those years, you're definitely going against your family's wishes. And they're always throwing like, what about the post office? Like, have you ever thought about working in the post office? I'm like, not using any skill set or anything I had, but it's like, no, I haven't considered working in the post office, but they'll just like throw stuff at you like that. But especially having a degree and not using it, it's got to be extra frustrating, I'm sure.
I would imagine, yeah. Now, you did say that, typically with Jewish families, they want you to be a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist, is what you said. And I just want everybody out there to know that if you are Jewish and you do become a dentist, you're still a black sheep because that's not a real doctor.
Yeah, you're probably going to get your doctor cousins and siblings to make fun of you. Like in anywhere else, you'd be like praised, but in a Jewish family, you're probably lower on the totem pole.
That's what I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly. But they do want you to have some sort of an MD. Fun fact about me, my family's actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the most doctors in one family. I don't take personal pride in that because it's not my achievement, but you can just imagine when you're like, hey guys, I'm going to be a comedian. You're like, oh my God, wow.
Is that a true statement, that Guinness Book thing?
That's true. That is very true. That is very true. Yeah.
That might be the most Jewish record you could have in that book.
I know. It does not get more Jewish than that. And all my dad's side of the family are all like MIT graduates, like NASA and everything. So you can just imagine when you're going to tell them that you're going to be even when I said I was going to UCLA, they were like, oh, well, sorry to hear it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, it's all that, it comes from a place of love. They want you to be successful and not struggle. And saying you're going to be an actress and a comedian, it's like you're just saying I'm setting myself up for a lifetime of ups and downs and uncertainty. But if you love it more than anything, see, I feel unfortunate that I at least know what I love. Many people don't even find their passion in life. So granted, it's the toughest road you can pick, or it's one of them, but I love it. If you don't love it, it's not for you. But if you love it more than anything, then you have to pursue it or you won't ever be really happy, or pursue creativity in some form.
Yeah, I feel like creativity is an itch that must be scratched at some point.
I agree.
So you graduated with your sociology degree and your family's like, what in the holy shit?
Yeah.
So are you performing as a stand-up or are you doing improv? What was the first step?
I was doing improv. So I was doing the Second City alumni shows and was really great because, they were, these tough guys. There's like 3 women at the time, so I think that was part of the reason why, even though I wasn't part of the Second City Chicago troupe, that they still let me play with them because I think it was kind of a novelty at the time to have a female improviser. Of course, things have changed now, women in comedy, it's growing, thank God. And I've seen the changes through the years. But yeah, I was just really performing live. And then I got my first jobs, like paying jobs in the industry and commercials. Did a lot of commercial work. If there was an improvised campaign where they're like, you can improvise some of the lines, those were the best chance I had at booking campaigns because I know I would be, that was my strong suit, was improv. But yeah, commercials were great. I have nothing bad to say about them. They shoot quickly, you make money. It was a dream come true to be able to do that. My heart does desire to create my own content. So that's when I got into figuring out how to do production. Like, what did I need to do to actually get what I'm saying and what I'm thinking on camera? And then I started figuring that out. I taught myself how to edit, and I did a series called Keep It Green. And I put up about 11 episodes online. And it was about the environment meets improv comedy. So my partner and I, a friend of mine at the time, we'd go out and it was kind of like fish out of water. We'd be learning with you about the environment. Like, we didn't know how to save the environment. We're learning too. We kind of made it funny. It wasn't depressing. And Discovery Channel, I guess, saw one of the videos and they were starting a Planet Green, an environment network. So they contacted me and said, do you have more? I sent them the stuff. We went back and forth, and we shot 14 episodes for their show G Word. And I got to pitch ideas, and we went back and forth. So I was really proud of that show. And it was on TV. So it was really a huge accomplishment. I felt really grateful. And then, of course, I fell in love with making content and seeing the whole thing, from conception to the editing and then the final product. And so I just kept pursuing that and made some short films and some documentaries. And when I hooked up with Josh, we did a documentary called Dashel, A Journey Through Autism. So I've been working with kids with autism 12 years now. It's one of my passions. I use improv, I use theater to help these kids and teens to kind of come out of their shell and help socialize and become themselves. And it's been a really beyond rewarding experience. And I have one student who I have been with for like 8 years, and I've seen him from being completely nonverbal to speaking a few words to then typing to communicate, then starting to write music and to be performing and singing and writing music. So we did a documentary about him, a short. And then Josh and I really liked working together. We make a great team. I'm very creative and can write and perform, and he's really technical. I mean, he's creative too, but he's very technical. He knows everything about filmmaking and how to get what I'm saying onto the screen. So after we made that short and it went around the world, and really, really proud of that movie, we wanted to do a feature, and I had a script that I wrote, and we had some investors. I actually got investors. They fell through. And, you could at that point say like, that's it, I give up. But if this is something you love more than anything, you have to keep going no matter what. So we said, okay, let's make a movie we can start shooting, like actually make ourselves. And then that became Chasing Molly. And we kind of came up with the story. It was going to be a run the gauntlet with my character. And Josh goes, okay, when you write 90 pages, we'll start shooting. So like 2 weeks later, let's say it was 3 weeks later, I had written the script and we started picking off what we could. And then it just snowballed. I know a lot of comedians from doing improv for years. So I found the funniest people I knew. Like Jim Cashman plays my sidekick. He's Jamie from the Progressive commercials. He's an extremely talented improviser. So I got him to be my sidekick. Felicia Day is a friend of mine. We've done improv together. Huge talent. And I asked her, I was like, can you give me, a few hours a day? I'll shoot you out, get all your scenes shot in one day, back to back. Would you do me can you do it? She agreed to do it. So then it's really snowballing now, And when we got Kurt Angle, that was just a cold call. I did not know him. I'm not familiar with the wrestling world at all. And, when Josh was like, we need like a big, like rough, like wrestling guy, I was like, okay, let's look at wrestlers. And we're in a time where with social media, I couldn't get to him, but I got to his manager, his wrestling manager, his team, and sent the script. And thankfully, he read the script and he really liked it. I mean, he thought it was funny. And even though his agents were like, you shouldn't do this movie, it's independent, where they're not paying you, we're not making money, he said, no, I believe in it, and I'm going to do it. And then we flew him out, shot him out in a couple days, and got him in and out. And you see why he's a gold medalist and a champion. I mean, it's not even like working with another actor. I mean, he comes in prepared. He knows his lines. Gives it 1,000% every take. It was actually a dream come true to work with him. So I'm beyond grateful he even agreed to do the movie. And then when he was there, for him to go above and beyond and just deliver. We had him do physical stuff. He only needed one take. We got a couple extras for safety, but especially on independent film, you don't have that time or the budget for it. So fortunately, we didn't need many takes, which was really, really helped us out.
So the film she's talking about, everybody, is called Chasing Molly, which she said, and she is the writer, producer, and she is the star.
Demon cleaners, cleansing house, body, and soul.
If they said we'll be back, then they'll definitely be back.
Where is the doll now?
Guesstimate.
Did the doll ask you to play a game? Never say yes to a doll's game. Was it like a ooh, or more like, your mother sucks? Then how? Okay, the first one. Okay, great.
We had this incident the other night.
You see my face, kid. You're already dead.
I can't sleep.
It's not like anyone got murdered here.
You see my mother's teapot? I stashed the last bit of pills in there.
We're gonna be waterboarded.
I am not a strong swimmer.
Atticus, where are you?
Great story, Molly. I'm in a bit of a predicament.
Sus huevosis, fuerte y grande y limpia.
You saying I have strong, big, clean balls?
Yep.
What the hell are you doing?
You've never heard of a honey facial? You ever seen a bee with a wrinkle? No.
Got it.
You know, pearls are the gossip girls of the sea. You hold one up to your ear, you can hear sounds from the ocean.
I think you mean seashells?
No. A pearl's gonna tell you things a seashell won't.
I got 3 different kids from 3 different women. Get me pregnant and leave.
What's your name, sweetheart?
Melanie Mellons.
No. The name your poor excuse for parents gave you.
Trinity.
All right, you never had a chance, did you?
Rodney's ready to get grapefruited.
You let him Peter Pan you.
What's being Peter Panned?
It's when you play with a Tinkerbell until he flies.
Now, this film is available on multiple VOD platforms right now, and I watched it last night on Amazon, and I didn't rent it. I bought it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And it was an hour and 20 minutes of me laughing and me every once in a while, every time there was a new person in a scene going, hey, I know that person. Hey, I know that person. Hey, I know that person. And they all did a great job. You know, some of the people that are in this are probably going to go down as icons, particularly in sci-fi fantasy nerd stuff, but also, you know, like Kurt, he's a gold medalist and he's a, you know, world famous wrestler. Like, there's some names and some great performances in this thing, and I encourage everybody to go check it out. One of the things that I thought was hilarious, maybe it was the funniest scene in the movie to me, being from San Antonio, was the first time we see the Latino gang members all sitting around talking to each other. I'm not going to spoil it, but that was some of the funniest shit I've seen in a really, really long time. So well done.
Thank you so much. So it's kind of a funny story. We, you know, needed this hardcore gang members, these Latino gang members, and everyone no one was going to fit the bill of this main character that I knew personally. So again, I go through social media, I'm going on YouTube, and I find these videos called Cholos Try. And it's like Cholos Try kombucha, Cholos Try veggie chips, Cholos Try watching Mean Girls. And it's hilarious. I mean, they are just so real and so funny, and their take on these really like stereotypical white people things, kale and everything, and then their take on it. So it's Cholos Try, really funny. And I see this guy, he's got tattoos on his face, on his head, on his neck. His name is Scar. I'm like, that's him. I need this guy. I got to have this guy. So I try find, of course, his name is not Scar. That's not his, biological name. So I have to find this guy.
Hold on. Did you say that's not his given name?
Yeah.
What? Okay, go ahead.
I know. It should have been, because it's really fitting. So I finally find this guy. His name is Mario. He's actually super zen. Could not be a nicer guy. It's obviously a persona he plays, this tough guy. And he was perfect. And I find him and I just say, listen, I'm shooting. Can you be there? And he's just like, what time? And I'll be there. And I'm like, oh my God, yes. So the movie, just like, if we needed something, I would find it, or we would find it. If we would get something like a smoke shop, we found a smoke shop that would let us film there. So then I would write one of the scenes to be in that smoke shop. So it was basically like, if whatever you could get, you used, and what you didn't have, you just had to be super resourceful to find. And that's pretty much how we produced the movie.
Well, I think that's very resourceful, and that used to be the way that, I think all art was sort of what's around you and what's available to you before, big money got involved and everybody wanted to check to do anything. So I think that's really cool and, like I said, resourceful. Now, the improv aspect of this script, I'm assuming there was some. Like, do you just roll film and get what you can get, or like, how do you direct improv in the, sort of in the direction you want it to go? Like, particularly with Jeff Lewis.
Okay. So with Jeff, I've known for a very long time. And I would say to him, okay, this is the scene. These are the jokes. Your selling dick for diapers. It's called pounding for Pampers. And then I said, so I want you to, like, here are the base jokes. Here's what it is. Now I want you to get upset because when Jeff gets upset, it's really funny to me. So to see him cussing and getting upset. So I'm like, I need you to build up to that. And I trust Jeff enough. Not every part of that movie. I mean, there are only certain characters that I know well where you can afford to let them improvise. Most of the time, you only have time to get the lines, get the jokes, and move on. If it's like Jeff Lewis, if it's, who else did I let? The cops in the movie, Mike Rose and Drew Droege. Then I know I'm going to let them, I'll be like, riff on this. Here's your next topic. And I'll let them go. And you need 2 cameras because those days it's like, since you don't know and you don't plan it, it's tough if you miss it and you can't go over it. It loses its, zest. So we have one scene with Rodney, the grapefruit scene, we'll call it. We only had 1 camera that day. And so there was times when he's improvising or I'm improvising, and we're praying when we go over the footage that we were the ones on camera. I mean, it's stuff like that. But mainly we would get what we needed to get first, make sure we have all of the dialogue, all of the plot points, everything shot. And then we would do a couple takes where it's like, okay, let's just riff on this and go.
Well, it worked. It worked very, very well.
Thank you so much. I love improv also because I don't like scenes to feel like scripted. I feel like it takes you out of a movie when you feel like actors are reading a script. So I want the dialogue. Of course, you want your jokes to be said how you wrote them and get it out correctly. But at the same time, I want it to feel like how that person would say it or how that character would say it. So I love working with improvisers because everything they do is natural. It feels off the cuff, even if it's a written line. So sometimes like you wouldn't be able to really even tell like which lines were improvised or which were written. And that's the sign of a good improviser. So the cops in the movie and then Jim Cashman, my sidekick, we had a lot of story to get out, but then also we play at the end of the scenes and still have fun together. So I really just wanted to cast people who I knew were going to be home run hitters. They were going to go in and nail the dialogue. And then I also knew I could have fun with and play the scene. We could have fun together and come up with some gold that wasn't in the script. And that's, you don't always have that luxury, especially on a big budget movie. Like if we were backed by a studio, they wouldn't be like, okay, why don't you guys take a couple takes and have see what you get. The great part about making a film so independent is that we could push the envelope. There was no one telling us like, ooh, pull back too much, or I don't know if you should say that. I mean, we could be as funny as we wanted. And then in the editing, we're the ones making the cuts. I mean, not physically editing it, but we're with the editor. We supervised every edit that we could keep what we wanted. So it gave us a lot of freedom. I mean, the struggles are by far minimal compared to the rewards of making it independently because you could be super creative. In the past work I've done, even for Discovery Channel was amazing, but they're going to put what's safe and what's funny because it's got to be marketable. It's got to be for TV. It's got to be for this. For an R-rated movie, it didn't have to be for anything but being as funny as possible. So, people say, wow, I was really surprised. Like some people just know me from working with kids and they don't expect that that's what's in my mind. So, it was really fun to get to be kind of as crazy as you wanted to be and say what you wanted to say without anybody telling you couldn't. So it was very liberating to be able to make this movie as well. I really felt like it was my voice, so I was really proud of it.
Well, you should be proud of it. I mean, I don't know your voice, but if that's your voice, then well done.
Yeah.
I don't know you, so
that's
all
true.
I have to go on is this movie, and I think you did a great job with it. I think it's awesome when a person who is the writer is able to act, or the other way around. I think it's really cool that you're able to be on both sides of, the camera, so to speak. That takes a certain breed of cat.
Yeah.
Especially like you said, taking it from a seed all the way to its full-fledged reality. Like, instead of, like a day player to just come in, do your thing and leave, it takes a special breed of cat to baby this thing the whole way until it's a fully grown movie.
And all the way you're like, what's next? You just keep doing what's next. And if I didn't know something, I would figure it out. And aside from the writing and the acting, production is a whole, now we've got to cast people. They've got to eat. I got to have food for them. I've got to get locations, and people are not like, oh, come film at my house or come film here. People don't want you to film at places. But when you finally do like get a pawn shop that says, yeah, you can film here, I mean, the rewards, you just feel blown away. You feel like you're creating a miracle almost because you don't have the budget and you really had to pull a rabbit out to get it to work, and also be resourceful. Like if you see a scene, we had scenes that were shot at one house, but we would use every room to be a new location in the movie, stuff like that. My husband worked at an RV rental place. So we shot in the garage, in the staff room, in the pool, the back lot, any place we could, and then locations are part of the budget. So we would save money there by trying to get whatever we could and then be resourceful when we needed bigger locations. The pawn shop scene, for example, is a real pawn shop, and we didn't have the budget to shut it down. So during shooting, you've got customers coming in. We had these two ladies that were there for an hour, just like, oh, this looks interesting. What's this, a Sagittarius ornament? And they'd go back and forth, and they had either no desire to look around to see that we were trying to film or get it. So stuff like that, where you don't know if you're going to get this scene before the sun comes down, before you lose all your light. Every day you film something, it's an adventure and stuff happens. You're shooting something outside and then the gardener across the street starts his industrial lawnmower. Well, we haven't locked down this lot. It's not ours to tell the neighbors to stop working. So stuff like that, you have to work around, think on your feet, reset. Okay, let's shoot this instead. The actors aren't working for big salaries, so you don't want to keep them just waiting around. So we shoot them quickly, make it fun. That's also how we got a lot of the talent. I said, look, I can't pay you a lot, but it's going to be fun and we can improvise, or you can be creative. And so it's a project that they feel proud of. Some things you do for money and then some things you do because it creatively excites you. So that was Chasing Molly. Like, people had to be creatively excited about the project. So in the end, you really only get the people that are not only talented, but that have a desire to put out into the world things that they're proud of. And I think that's all we really want as creators, is to make something we're proud of. And when you make something, like you said, from seed to it finally becoming, a tree, you really feel connected to the project. So if someone says something nice, it's like, oh my God, like, you believe it. Like, I take it very personally, and I'm very passionate about it too. And then once you had the movie, which we were dancing, now you hope people like it and they want to see it. And we had to get distribution. And that was another thing, I had to quickly figure out how to do that. We didn't do the film festival route. I was able to contact distributors directly and get someone on that was interested and then get them to watch it. And thankfully, we had, multiple people who were interested in representing the film. And we were thrilled to be with Gravitas. They were our number one pick. They're wonderful for independent film. We knew they had a huge reach. And so when they said they were interested, it was, we were dating them for a while, and you want them to commit to be, your boyfriend, girlfriend. And so when they were finally like, we got the deal, I mean, I was on the floor thinking about it. I'm still excited thinking about it. To have someone believe in your project is unbelievable.
My name is Phil Rossi. I'm the creator of the sci-fi horror experience Crescent, along with Eden, Harvey, and a whole lot of other scary stories. 50 hours of all new podcasts are ready for download on demand, including my new book, The Trance, a gothic cyberpunk detective story. And let me tell you, this book has got fangs. For more info and to get your hands on the free podcasts, visit patreon.com/Phil Rossi. Now turn out the lights and take a deep breath, because the story is about to begin.
So why did you decide to not go the festival route?
We didn't feel like our Dashiell movie, the movie about my student with autism, is a festival movie. It's a heartwarming, feel-good movie. Chasing Molly is a very raunchy comedy, and we didn't feel like it was like a little festival darling. We felt like it was going to be a little too racy for the film festival scene. There are a few festivals that can get you distribution, and then the rest are kind of to showcase your film. So we really wanted to get distribution. If we didn't get distribution directly, then we would have definitely gone the fest. That it was part of our plan had we not been able to get distribution. So it wasn't like we were completely ignoring it. We just felt like this movie in particular was not a festival movie, just in that it's not like a heartwarming Little Miss Sunshine, Booksmart kind of a thing. It's a Pineapple Express, Harold and Kumar. It's kind of raunchy. Didn't know how it would play at the festivals, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because it sort of reminded me, not in content, but sort of in tone, it reminded me a lot of Clerks.
Yes.
Like in the style that you did it, in the way that you were able to sort of pull favors and, use locations available to you and things like that. And that actually was a festival darling.
Yeah. It's not like we wouldn't have done the festival route had we not gotten distribution. I just really wanted to try to do that first. Also festivals take 9 to 10 months before you can get in. And, I'm not saying I'm not a patient person, but I just really, as soon as it was completed, I started shopping it around.
Well, that makes sense. And to be fair, the industry has changed in sub festivals a lot since Clerks.
Yeah. Amen. I mean, let's be fair. And, also, it's also a gamble. You don't know why certain movies get in and some don't. It's not also a guarantee that if you're in festivals, you're going to get distribution. The more you read on like what got picked up, it might be only a handful of movies that get picked up for distro. So it's not, of course, nothing's a guarantee, but it's not like, oh, if you got in this festival, then you're definitely going to get distribution and you're going to get a deal. So it was definitely the straightest path was to just attempt to get a hold of distributors directly.
Well, I mean, clearly it worked out. So well done. Was there any part of you that, as a last resort or something, is there any part of you guys that thought you might distribute it yourselves?
Yes. We knew this movie was never just going to sit in our hands. So we could have heard back from these distributors, great job. We don't think it's going to make money. Best of luck. You know what I mean? So we were very fortunate that many people were like, this movie's going to do well. Independent comedies are rare nowadays. Independent films to be made nowadays in general are, unfortunately, it's a lot smaller population than it used to be. So it's different. And then the executives responded to it. So we felt really good about it, but had that not happened, then we would have distributed ourselves because we want the movie to be out there. So whatever it took to get that to happen, we were willing to do all the steps. So that was definitely also on our list of things that we would have done.
What was the biggest lesson that you guys learned during the whole process from start to finish?
Biggest lesson, don't ever make a VFX shot in a comedy if you don't have a budget. It took us a really long time for some of the special effects shots we had. Thankfully, Josh had connections in that industry. That's his background. But boy, did that take a long time in post to do. I didn't realize that and probably would not have done that, written that in had I known. And also, if you're not going to be able to lock down a location, that you need to give enough time for it possibly to, like, audio-wise, to get completely, you might have to scrap it. And outside locations, especially. So if you don't have a sound studio, it can be rough. So I think, in the future, God willing, we're going to have a budget. But if I was just writing something I could film, I would shoot it in locations I knew I had and that we're going to not have noise so we could get clean audio and stuff like that. Josh will tell you it's a very backwards way to make a movie, how we did it. But I think if it's done, then it is the right way. So for me, whatever it took to get it done, and you just keep shooting 1 minute, we got that. Okay, we got that. We needed this. And then sometimes we'd shoot stuff that we were like, wow, that just isn't we're not thrilled with it. We had to love it. And if we didn't love it after watching it like 50 times, we're like, we don't know if this is going to stand let's get rid of it. So we were very, very picky in what we allowed in the final product, which is also the great thing about being independent. You didn't have someone who was like, oh, just put that scene in for filler, or no, we want that in. So you got to put that in. If we didn't absolutely love it, you're not going to see it on the screen. which was really cool too, because it's your baby and you want to watch it over and over. You don't want to have any, oh man, I wish that wasn't in there. Or so we literally, everything that's in there, we absolutely love. I mean, of course there's, little minor things. I'm not going to point those out to you, but that's the love of filmmaking, is getting it done and figuring it out. I think that's part of it.
One of the scenes that I think was the craziest is that I can't believe y'all left it in the movie. Clearly, it was an accident. Y'all just walked in on the director in the bathroom. That was weird. Just kidding. So,
oh my God, I was drinking a sip of coffee. I will spit it out.
All right.
Every movie has their director. Not every movie has a director do a cameo. So our very own Josh Sutherland that was his idea, by the way. Was why don't you try and sell me some of that Molly, but I'm going to be on the toilet. You sure, Josh? Oh yeah. Yeah. He's very proud of that. So don't let that pass you by, folks. Make sure you pause it on that. But yeah, his credit is toilet buyer.
Yes. Toilet buyer. That made me laugh out loud. Even in the credits, I was laughing. So also one of the things that I really, really enjoyed was the after cards or the where are they nows?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Some of those jokes in the what is this character doing now? Well, most of them, all of them were just as funny as the rest of the movie. So it was obvious that you guys took really, really good care and paid attention to every little thing. Even like I said, the after cards, which used to be a big thing sort of in the 70s and early 80s, but not really so much anymore. So it was kind of cool to see that come back. And you guys did it really, really well. Some of those I was laughing out loud at those things. That was awesome.
Thank you. When you're putting it together and you've seen it so many times, you really get very okay, this has to be so hilarious or it's not going to make it, in the cut. So everything, like you said, we took really great care. I mean, even just the sound effects, anything from every little detail. I mean, one of the characters pees in a jug and we had to go back to the sound editor and be like, you know what? I'm not getting urine from this. We need to get a better urine sound splashing in the jug. This sounds like an empty jug. So even little things like that, when you're so much a part of it, I think when most projects, people do maybe one part of it. So they do their part really well and they're proud of that. But when you're in charge of everything, you're attached to everything. So you really have attachment to the whole project where I wouldn't be just enough for my performance to be great. The writing has to be great and the production has to be great, or I feel like I didn't do it service. So it is definitely a labor of love. And I think you can tell that it's not a movie that was just made because we have big special effects or we have Tom Cruise in it. I mean, it's a movie that was made because comedies are needed. I love superhero movies. Sure. I love all that. But we also need to be able to really laugh, especially in today's world where there's so much heaviness. So to be able to laugh, and then comedies you can watch over and over again if you're not in a good mood, and to be able to get out of whatever kind of funk you're in, to be able to break free of that is really valuable. So, I know that it's a movie. I just keep saying, people are going to also want to see. They're looking for your movie too, Shelley, as much as you're looking to find people who love it. They're looking to find a comedy to love too. So I keep reminding myself as I'm promoting, to connect with people that are also looking for something different and for something that's, not what they've seen. It's not a cookie cutter, watered down comedy. So I think people are looking for that. And I'm just grateful to be able to connect with people who are appreciative of the film and not only how it was made, but, that it's something you can really sit down, not with your kids, but with other adult friends and just engage in whatever laughter and activities that ensue from there.
Well, my kids are in their mid-20s, so I can sit down with them, yes.
Okay, so that's fine. So you can watch it with your kids, actually.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know if this is going to offend you or not, or maybe it was a specific choice, but your character, Molly, very, very much, in my mind, resembled Amy Winehouse. Was that on purpose?
No, and I don't know how to take that. Is it a compliment or because my hair's a little crazy? Where did you get that exactly?
Well, the cutoff shorts.
Okay, yeah.
Pardon me, but the bosom me shirt.
Yeah.
And your big hair.
Yeah. It was like Daisy Dukes, Dolly Parton. You know what it was? I don't know what it was. And here's the thing. Once I committed to that outfit, which I wore one day, the movie takes place over like a 24-hour period. So I was then wearing that outfit for the whole movie, maybe the whole movie. So whether or not I regretted my choice, and people will be like, oh, why did the director make you wear that skimpy top? And I have to be like, that was my choice. Shelley, made that choice. I'm going to let everyone know now. I was not forced into wearing cutoff shorts and a cleavage top. I unfortunately made that decision myself and had to just live with that decision for the next year and a half. So that was that.
Well, for what it's worth, I think it was very stylized and I think it fit the character.
I do too. And listen, there's some scenes where you're like, oh man, Shelley, why did you do that? But for the most of the time, I'm like, you know what? I think it looks cute and I'm standing by it. So Amy Winehouse was not the vision on my vision board. But I think, I just wanted it to be what I would want to wear. I don't know what I was going for at the time. I mean, that's Molly. She's a con artist. She's not professional, but she's also, willing to get her hands dirty and do what she has to do to get a job done, as a female hero does. It's not always glamorous. So
sweet. Well, like I said, I think it worked for the character and it was stylized to the character. I think that character who was, of that profession and in that situation that she found herself in, I think that is 100% something that she would wear.
I really appreciate that. Thank you for validating my choice.
Well, I know all of you actor types. You're just constantly searching for validation in the strangest places.
Anywhere we can get it. We're not picky.
Shelley, can you tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Yes, Shelley Pack, SHELLEYPACK. That's my name everywhere. It's my only name that I have. Chasing Molly is the movie. I would love everyone to watch it or buy it, more importantly, if you are so inclined to do. It's on Amazon Prime, iTunes. You can get the DVD or the Blu-ray at Amazon.com, BestBuy.com, Walmart.com. And we're on Fandango, anywhere on demand, Redbox on demand, Vudu, PlayStation, Xbox, any place you can really ingest media, you can get Chasing Molly. So I really hope you guys give it a watch and let me know what you think.
To that note, everybody scroll down to the show notes. There will be an Amazon, buy it anywhere you want to, but there will be an Amazon link in the show notes for the movie. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed it, so I think everybody should check it out. And also, the movie has a Twitter handle, and it is @chasing_Molly. And it might be a secret, but the lady you're listening to is who's working those keys on that particular Twitter profile. So reach out and say hi there as well.
Yes, and I will respond. I do comment back. I'm, please be nice. If you're not nice, I'm not going to comment back. But thankfully, everyone's been really supportive. So it's been great. You get nervous when you're out there and online and just exposing your film. It feels very vulnerable. But I've been very fortunate that people have been really, really kind so far. So let's keep that going.
Well, deservedly so. Before I let you go, Shelley, is there anything we didn't talk about or something I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about?
No, I just, I think we covered everything from my birth until today. I just want people to know that if you're out there and you really believe in something, I mean, this, you might be like, oh, this is an overnight success, but it's not. It's been about 15 years of just plugging away, doing whatever it takes to make sure that I could pursue my dreams. And then, if you have something that you believe in or you want to have your voice, I also was doing a lot of internet web stuff. So, make a video, start a podcast, broadcast yourself. People ask me, how did you get started? And I would say just finding your voice first and then finding a way to put it out there. And there's different ways to do it aside from film. But I'm really, really, really proud of this accomplishment to make a feature and then to be proud of the outcome. So I'm very grateful. And I really hope you guys watch Chasing Molly.
Me too. It's a lot of fun. I'm not going to say that you should get high before you watch it, but I can't imagine it would hurt.
I didn't want to have to say it, but...
So those states where that is legal and some of the ones there it's not, feel free to Netflix and chill, except not on Netflix. Just Amazon Prime and chill, or however the kids say it these days.
Amazon Prime and chill. That's the new, I love it.
All right, Shelley, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day and your hectic schedule to let us get to know you a little bit better on Fascination Street.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. Really appreciate it.
It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to whatever you're going to do next.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Thank you so much, Shelley. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, this is Steve Owens from Fascination Street Podcast here with a very important message. I'm awesome. I bet you thought I was going to say something else, but nope. What's important here is that I am awesome. I started this show because I truly believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear those stories. In the short time I've been doing this show, I've interviewed actors, directors, writers, inventors, podcasters, musicians, pro athletes, Olympic athletes, actual war heroes, even a Bond girl and a luthier, whatever the hell that is, and of course, regular people. From people who wanted to be stars but never gave it a real try, to big company CEOs and people who got to meet their favorite president. I love getting to meet and speak with people who have a story to tell. I feel like everyone does, and it's my job to get them to tell it. You never know who my next guest will be. An Academy Award-winning actor, a platinum-selling musician, or your own mother-in-law. But one thing is for certain, you will be fascinated by their story. So come take a walk with me down Fascination Street. You can find Fascination Street Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and of course, FascinationStreetPod.com. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.